tell you a little story. Take a seat. Here you go. There comes a time in every young woman's life where she needs studio lighting. The things we have access to for a COB light in the 60 watt range with a little softbox on it, wonderful. Set it up there, you dim it, they're pretty cheap, they got good color. Wow, it's just sitting there, the same color, same brightness, day in, day out. So the goal is, how cheap can we go without compromising the end result? What does it do to the skin, the size of the softbox, etc. So let me take you on a journey. A journey to what we used to do before we had access to the content creator economy and had content creator lights. Ooga booga. Return to monkey. This is basically a softbox with an Edison plug slapped in the middle. And looky what we have here. A binary dimmer. Wow. Diffusion. This is not what I think is thick enough. I can see more of a hot spot than I would like in this. So what we've done is added another layer of diffusion to these. So you can buy like a half stop and you can sew that on here. We also had some packaging material that looked very diffuse that we glued onto a few of these, and that did a similar job. It doesn't look quite as good when you get up close. There might be a little bit of a color shift because we're not using something specifically designed as a diffusion cloth. So there tends to be, I guess we'll call them spokes or splines in these lights that are connected to the Edison illuminator mount. And these can typically be removed. You may have to do a little bit of snipping, but they can be removed, re-rotated, put back in if you need the built-in mount adjusted. That's something of the two brands I bought into that we were able to do. Currently, I am being lit by one of these. This is the twin of this. They're genetically identical. Photography bulbs result in usually a pretty good CRI. They look pretty good on the skin. They're not, I would say, a significantly worse choice, given the choice, versus going for, one of those chip on board lights with a softbox. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare some of these bulbs, some CFL and some LED. These LED photography lights are relatively recent, but these older style photography lights will work. Please don't take the numbers I'm giving you as any kind of objective guide. I lost my light meter, so I'm just using my phone.
And this is the same bulb as what I used for most of the talking heads, that 45 watt. This was interesting. I kind of like this bulb, but I had increasing issues with these higher wattage LEDs. So you'll see it more coming up here. This off the shelf, what was it, 9 or 7 watt LED was like, oh, this is surprisingly decent. Now, the issue with these higher wattage LEDs could just be they're just not produced well. So it may not be an issue with just, high wattage bad. It could just be they're off-brand.
But Josh, I need it to be a specific brightness for my specific needs and my specific studio. And the light that they gave me as a default, the bulb they gave me as a default is not that.
So I did buy an inexpensive bulb that had a wireless remote to try to get some of the functionality back from what I'm calling a content creator light. The wireless aspect did work, but it was a weird light. The color was off. The prospect of having to use it for video was very unappealing, much more unappealing than getting a bulb that produced a good color and then cutting the light from there. By the way, these are only claiming 85 CRI. Meanwhile, this is claiming 93 CRI. So CRI claims are just... So I think the cheap way to do it is to just get a bulb that is bright enough. Maybe it's a bit too bright. And use mosquito netting as a scrim to cut the brightness. And from my perspective, I haven't run into much color shift issues.
Wow.
The conclusion is I basically reinvented nothing. Just do it the way they did it 15 years ago.
These are for lights that are static. Static in both position, brightness, and color temperature. You put them up, they're there. The way we dial in the brightness and color temperature is through selecting the correct bulb.
You're probably most safe with these photography full spectrum CFL bulbs. Some LEDs are okay, but you have to test them.
So if you don't have the time, it may be worth the money to go a different route. You can use gels if you need to shift the color a little bit one way or another.
And scrim your lights like they did back in the tungsten days if you're a bit too bright.
It's just an idea. Bruh, don't come at me. It's just an idea. All right? I'm not telling you what to do. Subscribe. That's for static lights, and I've defined static lights. For dynamic lights, so lights were moving around, either going on location or just moving around your studio at different places, yes. We're going to use lights with electronics in it that can dim, maybe change color, temperature, etc. So if you want to learn what I do with that, I have a workflow video over here with at least some kind of light. And we'll be doing something. It'll be great. I think you'll enjoy it. If you don't, I will apologize. I will personally apologize to you in the comments. Every one apology equals one thing that you like.